Welcome back, guys. In this video I'll be reviewing the 2018 Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled. Stay tuned. So here we are, here we have the 2018 Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled, finished in the black edition paintwork with the gold wheels on, which we've now actually lost for the 2019 model, which to me is a great shame as I think it really finishes off the bike. You've got the high riding suspension, which jacks the bike up compared to the other models in the range, and to me this really is the best out of the range. It just looks spectacular with these knobbly tyres on. It just really sets the bike apart from the rest of the range. It's got the high front mudguard, the extra travel on the suspension front and back, and with that headlight guard, I think it really sets it apart. So let's jump on the bike and see how it rides. Well, I think the first thing you notice about the bike when you jump on it is the height of the bike, which is quite right, as with the jacked up suspension, as I've just said, it does ride a lot higher than some of the other Ducatis in the range. But it's good feeling. It allows you to stretch them legs a bit more and doesn't quite feel as small and as toy-like as I found some of the others. But other than that, another thing you notice is the nice wide handlebars that you have, giving you good control over the bike, and also the visibility out of them mirrors is second to none. There's no vibration in them, and good wide view for it. But you can see exactly what's behind you when you're riding around town. But we'll talk more about that later. So, as we start here on the descent of the horseshoe pass, I think now's a good time to give you a few specs about the bike. So, first off, as I said before, one of the first things you notice about the bike is the height of it. With the standard seat on, that starts at 860mm or 33.9 inches, which is opposed to the likes of the Ducati Icon, which is 790 or 31.1 inches. It's only a 70mm gap, well, difference between them two, but you really can feel it when you're riding them both. The smaller Ducati to me feels a bit more like a bit too small and maybe a bit of a toy, but you can get other optional seats for this. They do a lowered seat which will take 20mm off, or you can get a comfort seat which will then add another 10mm onto the height of the seat. Moving on, it's a 803cc air-cooled L-twin engine, get that right, but it produces around 75 brake horsepower, produces about 68 Nm of torque. One thing I have noticed with this bike, the torque isn't quite as low as you'd expect for a V-twin style engine. You do have to give it a bit more revs into your ride to keep it nice and happy. But once you found that sweet spot, which is around 4,000 RPM, it really does respond well. That engine's connected to a 6-speed gearbox, which is, to me, it's a bit clunky. I do find myself finding a few false neutrals every now and again, but it's not a bad gearbox overall. That's connected to, it's got 200mm of travel at the front and back. That's been raised up from the standard Ducati Scrambler range to give it this more off-roading appearance, and I must admit I've only ridden it off-road for a short amount of time, but it really has made a difference. So as well as that, it's also got a 19-inch wheel at the front, as opposed to the standard 18 that you'd find on the rest of the Ducati range, but it still keeps the same 17-inch wheel at the back, which are wrapped in the Pirelli Scorpion STR tyres. Now these, I must say, are fantastic tyres. you look at them, it gives the bike that look that they've been looking for. But they are really good tyres. They're not too bad off-road, they are enduro tyres. So they can go off-road really well. I had a pretty good experience with them. No complaints from me on the, like a fire road sort of thing. But on the road, you really can hang off the bike. But it's not more about the handling later, but the tyres really do grip a lot more than you would expect. Now, other than that, it's got a 13.5 litre fuel tank. I get around 120-ish miles out of that, which isn't bad for me. That's averaging around 45 mpg. Again, not too bad for it. It's not the lightest of bikes, but it's not extremely heavy. The wet weight of the bike is 207 kilos, which feels good. And that is all stocked by a Brembo caliper system, which is a 4-pot, 330mm disc at the front and a 245mm disc at the back. So that's the specs over. Let's give you a bit more information about what it's like to ride. So here we are, and just listen to that soundtrack. I must admit, the speakers don't do it any justice whatsoever. It really does sound a lot better, and when you're really decelerating, that exhaustion pops and bangs all the way down. I wish it could be a little bit louder, and I do think some of the noises have been a bit muffled by that big catalytic converter that we've had to bolt on underneath the bike, weighing it down. But it's all the Euro 4 specs. There's all the bikes that have been ruined by it. But now we're on a few more twisty roads. Let's tell you what it's like to actually ride. Well, I'm glad to say it is so much better than you would expect. I know it's one of them bikes, it looks cool just to look at, and you do worry maybe it's just a cool bike to look at and it's not going to be ride as well as it should do, but it's so the opposite. It really does ride as well as it looks. It's got them tremendous tyres on it, and you really can just throw it into the corners and you can trust it the whole way round. It really does grip a lot more than you would ever expect. You can really just throw it into the corners and ride it the whole way round. It really is unbelievable. You'd never expect it just by looking at it. I did worry that it'd be one of them bikes where you look at it and it wouldn't ride as well as it looks, but it's complete opposite. It really does ride as good as it looks, which is a bit of a relief. Power wise, I know it's only got that 85 brake horsepower, and I must admit it was putting me off for a while. It's getting a bit caught up on the figures, but it really is all this bike needs. It sits in between. It sits about halfway in the scrambler category. You've got the Triumph. Well, you've got the current Triumph, which is around 60 brake horsepower, I believe, at the moment. I know you've got the new 1200 on its way out, which I'm excited to test ride. And then you've got the Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled at 85, and then you've got the BMW R19 at around 120 brake horsepower. I haven't been lucky enough to ride one of them yet, but I'm hoping to get on one in the near future. But honestly, take my word for it, that engine really does respond well once you start popping it through the gears. Absolutely fantastic. I love the bike. Ride, as I said before, it is a little bit on the hard side, but it doesn't matter. It's so many potholes that really affect you, the rest of it's fine. But absolutely fantastic. What's it like to ride off-road? Honestly, it performs a lot better than you probably expect. I'm not going to go too much into it because I'm going to do another video on that at a later date, but it really is a scrambler that you can ride off-road if that's the way you want to go with it. It is a brilliant bike. Other than that, what's it like to live with? Well, I think it's an absolute beaut of a bike to live with. I use this bike every day to go to work on. I've done around 3,000 miles on it in the last few months. I've had the bike, and I must admit, it's a joy to ride. Filtering through traffic is easy. You've got that lovely sit-up riding position, so you've just got amazing visibility to over the top of the cars, and it's just such an easy bike to ride. There's no rider mode, it is just a literal get on and ride bike. The only downside I would say is it hasn't got a fuel gauge on it. You've just got a light that comes on when you've got around 20 miles left in the tank. I would like to have seen a fuel gauge on it, but I believe that's been sorted for the 2019 model. But I've been down to Bournemouth on it. I just strapped my bag on the back of it and off I went. I just enjoyed the whole week that I was down on it. So I really do like this bike. I intend to keep it for a good while, for a fair few years, as there's nothing that really compares for me in the same market. So that's been my review of the 2018 Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you can, get down to your local Ducati dealer and take one out for a test ride. And let me know if you agree with any of the comments I've made about the bike. If you'd like to see more of these videos, make sure you press subscribe and ring that bell for more. Cheers.